Good evening, Mr. Walila.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
How are you doing? Well done, sir.
Thanks so much, sir. Thank you all for joining. We are trying as much as possible to get people on the call. We appreciate your presence. Very soon, we shall kickstart the training properly. And we would like you to be informed that this is a recorded session and we are also live on YouTube. So for those who might be finding it difficult to join us, we can advise them to join us via YouTube. So we shall be sharing the link for those who will join us on YouTube. Thank you and God bless you. That information will be passed to us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Huh?
So for those who wish to join us live on another platform, that is the invite link that we have here. Kindly share our browser platforms to spread the information. Okay, I would make a couple of persons our co-host because as usual, the network might become unfavorable. So also, we are sending the link to send us a message in case you are interested in the full course. Mr. Abdulhakim, so you'll be our co-host should in case you have issues with the network, and also help us to repost these messages. Thank you for joining us. You are recognized, Mr. Mukhtar Hakim. And our first joiner for today, Mr. Victor, I think so. Thank you. You also be a co-host so that in case we have issues with network, and also Mr. Abdullah Kolawode, please kindly help us to handle the situation in case we have issues with the network.
Thank you.
I never knew I've muted myself for a while. I've been talking alone. So unfortunate. So let me go back. I said I recognize the presence of most of my leaders here. I recognize the presence of Engineer Khalid Adejola, Engineer Tiamiyu, Engineer Daniel Saiki, Engineer Isaac, Anaba Aru. I can see Mr. Adefela Aru Fela. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Emmanuel. I can see Mrs. Abisola, and so many more from other parts of the world. I can see Ashok Garolapati. Thanks for joining us. Today is an overview section of the 3D Technical Safety Training course, and we have discussed the importance of these courses. Because of the each content of this course, might not be able to go through the whole full details, but as much as we can, we'll touch the vital part. And our focus for today will be on safety data analysis, while we try to see how we can also talk about others too. The three course in full talks about accident investigation and risk management techniques. It also have its content on detailed job analysis training, and also on safety data analysis and HSE Databoard presentation, which will be the major focus for today. And while we focus on the main part of the course, we shall also talk about some other parts too. In brief, even the safety data analysis is a full day course, minimum of 5 hours, but we shall see what we can do as much as possible to make it, to see how far we can go within that 2 hours that we have allotted for ourselves today. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for your presence. We appreciate your decision to join us today. We appreciate your decision to be a part of us. And very soon we shall kickstart the training properly. Thank you and God bless you. We are live on YouTube. We have sent the link across to everyone who wants to join us live on YouTube. We have it. Let me try to resend, because once I start the training, I may not be able to resend these things. Yes, please. Okay, Mr. Abdulakim Mukhtar is helping us with this. Thank you so much, sir. Please also note that this training has for the full version of this training on the 3D training course, it should be happening this Thursday to Saturday, this coming Thursday, Saturday, for those who might be interested. But beyond that, let us talk about one of those courses as much as we can. We have 3 minutes to go. Once it is 5:10, we shall kickstart this training properly. Thank you and God bless you.
So good evening to us all. It's already 10 minutes past 5.
So thank you very much, Mr. Abdulhakim. I was about starting the conversation while you did that. We are starting this training, and we are happy that we have quite a number of people who have joined us live on the call. My name is Waliu Adegoke. I'm a safety professional, a certified safety trainer, and a safety advocate. We have decided to have this course with regards to increasing the level of competency of most of our professionals. Without argument, we are aware that we have lots and lots of competent professionals in the world at large, most especially in a country like Nigeria, where we value knowledge so much. And part of the little research that we did concerning competency is that we observe that most times when we go for professional courses, you agree with me that when we go for courses like NEBOSH, like NEBOSH Diploma, IOSH, these are top courses, what we focus on, which is not actually a bad idea, is how majorly on the certifications. We focus on the exams. How do you pass the exams? What are the procedures to pass the exams? Without doubt, most of these procedures to pass the exams are also very technical and require even studying. But we have observed that based on the content that most of these professional bodies offer to us, we most times do not get the full details of this training. They have good content, robust content, but in the pursuit of trying to pass the exams, and it happens to us even in our academic life. When we were in school, we just want to find a way, just let us pass. Only a few number of us, we actually focus on the content and to understand what we have been taught. So we decided that let us look at those areas that requires a review, continuous professional development. We might these courses, especially the first two, when we mention them, they look so simple. Okay, accident investigation, who cannot do that? Anybody can carry out accident investigation. Yes, that is true. But when it comes to having a successful, a valuable accident investigation using various techniques, there are so many things involved. Even just what we call just job hazard analysis. By the time we dissect what we have in job hazard analysis, we will understand that there are so many things that is involved in developing job hazard analysis that will be effective in promoting a good culture and preventing accidents. Then the last part of the third part, which we'll be focusing on today, is an area that is not likely mentioned in trainings. In trainings that we go for, we hardly see this as part of the content, and that is the area of safety data analysis and HSE dashboard presentation. Yeah, they might teach us what is man-hour, what is lost time injury, what is first aid case, what is permanent disability case, what is this and that in definition. But when it comes to applying them in order to realize the trends and patterns, in order to have a good follow-up and prevent accident or prevent reoccurrence of accident, or use it to study how you're improving on your system, your KPIs when it comes to safety data, we hardly do have this content. And that is part of the content that we are having with us on our traders technical safety training courses. And we decided that, okay, today, in the last time that we did this overview, we focused more on accident investigation. If you joined us on our first one, which was on accident investigation and risk management technique, I mean the overview that we did last month. If you join us on that part, please kindly signify in the chat section. Just type yes, yes, yes. If you joined us on the last one that we did last month on the overview of accident investigation and risk management techniques, yes, just kindly type yes, yes, yes. Let us see ourselves, those of us who are opportune to join us on accident investigation. So moving forward, this time around for this second batch, we decided, okay, let's look at another important area of these 3 days technical safety training course. There are a lot of them, not only as accident investigation, not only risk management techniques, not only job hazard analysis, not only what do you call it? Not only safety data. We have also done some other courses like project safety, a tool to project productivity and quality deliverable. It was also a course that we also developed some time ago in the early part of this year, and it gave real feedback. And I hope very soon we'll also go into that. And that one was talking about focusing on the project management knowledge areas. We have cost management, schedule management, we have quality management, we have resource management, we have scope management, so many of them, and we try to integrate them into health and safety as a core knowledge area. Yes, and I was of the opinion that in the project management book of knowledge, the knowledge areas, safety is supposed to be integrated and to be a separate knowledge area. But today, I think they are working on it. I give a course on it, and I discuss and have my materials on how they can help us to integrate safety into project management. That is another talk for another day. So let us focus on what we have today and go straight into the business of today. Like I said, my name is Wali Adegoke, and I'm your safety trainer, facilitator for today, alongside my co-host, Mr. Hakim Mukhtar. Thank you, and God bless you. So, I have a couple of persons. Okay, we have one person who said yes, he joined us on the last section. So let us go ahead and see what we have for us today. Today's training will be divided into a couple of parts. The first part is for us. I hope you can all see my screen, please. Please, if you can see my screen, kindly drop it in the chat section that you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yes, thank you very much for that feedback, sir.
Yes, we can.
This training is being organized by Codal Safety Consult. Codal Safety Consult is into health and safety trainings, providing HSE support, safety management systems, and helping to improve the safety of organizations. We also deliver management trainings alongside these safety trainings. So if you need anything that has to do with health and safety, you need health and safety advice in organizations, you need us to do in companies trainings, bespoke trainings, management trainings, you can always call on us at any point in time. So let us move ahead because of time. And we also advise that we also videos should be taken off so that we could manage the bandwidth in order to avoid network disruption. So this is about the 3D technical safety training courses. This course is having numerous parts that has to do with HSE technical courses, 3 courses like we mentioned, hazard, what's it called? Safety data analysis, detailed job hazard analysis, and accident investigation. And like we've seen this morning, today we'll be focusing on safety data analysis. Then also we have part of the bonus is that we have recorded version for the training for us, for those who might not be able to meet up with the days, because the 3-day course, we have it recorded for us to have a review and also watch later within a period of time. And also we have HSE developed Excel boards that will also give us, also we have HSE document that will also give us relating to the courses and presentation templates as it is required. So those are part of the things we have for us on those 3 days. So we've talked about this. I don't want to waste more time. Let me start recording because we have paused recording earlier. Oh, it's not needed actually because we are live on YouTube, so it will be available automatically on YouTube. So everybody needs this training. Everybody needs this part of the training because when you're talking about safety data analysis, you are talking about reactive and proactive approach. You can use it as a leading indicator and as a lagging indicator, depending on the parameters that you are working with. But when you have these things, you have numerous data, a lot of data, and you're trying to make it easier, presenting it, making your organization to see how what you are doing in your organization is affecting how what they are doing that is not safety compliant is affecting the productivity or is affecting the cost or is giving a huge cost to the organization. And you want to use your data to represent them. Scrolling through a lot of data can be stressful, and you might not be able to communicate it effectively. In this age in time, we need to advance in our professionalism. We are in the era of computer, we're in computer age, and there are things that we can do digitally easier to communicate, making it easier for us to communicate this thing to management, making the management see in graphical form, in chart form, using Excel dashboard with these data, and not only using the Excel dashboard, knowing how to use them. We have those templates already designed, and what we do is that we incorporate these data effectively. So what we are going to do is in 3 parts. We are going to train us on the basics, all those lost time injury, what do they mean and the likes. And we are also going to look at the HSE dashboard as a tool, and we are also going to train us a bit on how to use them. It's actually mostly very easy, especially when you have them designed already. You just need to put 1 or 2 things together, and you will see them be populated on your dashboard. So we'll be going straight into the training, and I hope you enjoyed this section. For the full version, like I said, if you're interested, the message will be popped up by Mr. Akim for those that might be interested in the full course. And that is alongside the 2 other courses that we are talking about at a very minimal cost. So let's continue. About me, I don't need to talk too much about myself now. Let us go straight into the discussion of today. So it's a flexible training course, and what we are focusing on, like today, now we are going straight into discussion, is HSE data analysis and safety dashboard presentation course. What do you understand by like safety data? There are a lot of means, a lot of routes that we get our safety data from our daily inspections, from our daily observations, from our daily unsafe acts, daily incidents that we have on site, from our daily site activities. We have data that comes from left to right, and incorporating this into a data form and into a graphical form using the Excel dashboard makes it easier for you to be able to present to your management, makes it easier for you to be able to communicate with your management. In a single view, they can understand so many things about what is happening in the organization and how they can improve. You can use safety data, you can use your Excel dashboard that has been presented to let them know that there are so number of medical cases, and these medical cases that we have, this is the cost attached to it. And this cost is attached to it. At the end of the month, we are spending so amount of money because we are unable to prevent an unsafe act, an unsafe condition from leading to a near miss that led to an accident. So you are trying to look at each stage via the data, via the dashboard that you have already. But the best way that you can communicate this to the management is when you are able to populate these data effectively, when you are able to know what these data mean and how these data can affect the industry at large. Like I said, we are in the era of data. We are in the era of technology. It's those I know we have our reporting, we report our weekly report, our monthly report, the overview of the whole report, but let us have something aside that the management will look at these things and they'll be like, wow, this person knows what he's doing, this digital world, this digital knowledge. And how do we prevent this? How do we prevent cost? How do we reduce cost? How are these things affecting our organization? And using your safety data that you get from various means during your daily safety activities, you can use them to populate and have a good report for your organization. Let's continue. Dashboard is used to display overviews of large data that we work with. We have a lot of data. In case it gets to a stage where you can't hear me, please kindly just drop it in the comment section that you can't hear me so that I will know that I'm having network issues. I may not be able to know because I'm not listening to myself. Please, once you can't hear me, just let me know that you can't hear me. If I'm loud and clear, kindly say loud and clear. Kindly drop it in the chat section. Loud and clear. Loud and clear. I want to hear loud and clear so that I will know that I'm communicating. Please, I want to know if I'm communicating. Kindly drop it in the chat section, loud and clear. I want to know that I'm communicating. It's very important. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, engineers. So we have a lot of data, and Excel dashboards use these dashboard elements like charts, tables, gauges to show overviews. These data are very numerous, but having your, in basic mathematics that we're doing then in secondary school, in primary school, they show us different kind of charts, pictograms, and the likes. Now you're trying to incorporate this into your safety data analysis. You're trying to incorporate this into your safety data, and you're trying to use it to analyze trends and patterns to improve on your system. Let us continue. So still talking about safety dashboards, it makes it easy to perform quick overviews of safety data. You want to, rather than going through large volumes of data, rather than going through large volumes of information that you might not know where they belong to. Simple use of Excel as a tool and using it as incorporating it into Excel dashboards make it easy for you to quickly and urgently make decisions that can prevent potential accident and promote a positive safety culture. Since you can skim through all this information at once and within a short time. Let me give you a very small example, of how these dashboards can be very effective. I remember when I was working as a project supervisor in a particular site. Construction site is one of those sites that gives us a lot of issues. They give us wahalas because those guys, we have a lot of technical and non-technical guys. We have people who just come to it, who do not understand what safety means, who have been working without safety, and they are coming into an organization that takes safety very seriously. So part of what I did was to have a violation board, simple evaluation Excel board, and I have the records of violations. So when you violate, I populate your name. I'm just giving you a very simple understanding, the simplest one that you can ever think of. Now we have our induction forms. Our induction form, we can have up to 1,000. We can have up to 500 inductees that we have in our site. Instead of scrolling through looking for someone's document when they violate, it's very easy. What did I do? I make sure that on the induction form, I gave them an induction number. We do that always, but what are those induction numbers for? They're not just there for being basic. Then I go to my Excel board, I type in their name, their profession, and maybe the carpenter or whatever. I make sure that the carpenter spelling is equal for everyone, so that by the time I write carpenter, it brings out all the carpenters. So I write carpenters, and I also write their induction number. I rank their induction number. So whenever someone violates, what do? I don't need to start searching for his document. I will just go straight, type his name, then it will pop up, show me the induction number. Then I'll use the number to trace it because I've arranged all the files in numerical form. So if the number is 192, I make sure that, okay, I'm going to 192. There's no need to waste my time. So it makes the work easier, and it's easier for you to trace violations and for you to put, okay, this person has violated once, you put it on green or whatever, maybe mark it once, okay, violated twice, mark it twice. You don't need to start thinking. It makes the job easier. It makes communication easier, and it makes decision making very easy. This example is just the smallest benefit of the Excel dashboard. Let us continue, please. So, like I was saying, please kindly admit these people in because it's showing on my screen and it's affecting my visibility. So the Excel dashboard helps in tracking key performance index to know how you are performing in the organization, how you are improving, if you are meeting targets. If you plan that you want to carry out 52 bus stock, at the end of every week, you write the number of two bus stock that you've carried out, and you put it alongside with your target. You'll be able to see, am I meeting up with the target? You plan to have 3 meetings per month. In a year, that is 36. Maybe now around, okay, let us have minimum of 30. So at the end of each training, you went to put it there. We have this number of training. You have this training. You have this meeting. You are automatically populating it alongside your target. At the end of the year, you'll be able to see, did we meet up with the target? You are using it to compare, like a gap analysis with your last year improvement or with a standard that is already identified or that you want to work with as an organization. So your dashboard helps you to see these things, your progress, and how you are improving on your system. Last month, you have 50 near misses. Okay, this time around, you want to have 40, want to reduce, want to be realistic. Now, you can only know that when you populate that alongside the previous report. Okay, you observe that there are lower reports of near misses. We are seeing accidents happening and they are not near misses being reported. So what can we do to improve the culture that will make people to have a rest of mind, that we are not trying to wish on them, but we are trying to make them help us to get these data to know which area can we improve on. But you can only do that when you have a safety data analysis and Excel dashboard that you have put in place in order to see, okay, last month they gave us only 2 near misses, but we had like 5 accidents. If they are hiding near misses, they can't hide accidents. So it means that there should have been more near misses that would have been happening that were not reported, and this accident is happening. So there is something going wrong. There's a gap somewhere. How do we close this gap? What programs can we put in place? Okay, let us start having a core sensitization on reporting near misses, the benefit. Okay, let us have 10 trainings. Let us train 100 people. How many people do we have in our organization? We have 200 people in our organization. Put them on the dashboard. How many people are we training per week? It makes you to track your record, and it makes the whole job be in a particular place. It's easier for you to go to the management and tell them these are the things you've been doing so far. Or what you just need is for them to ask, okay, what's the evidence that you've done this? You go there, you bring it. What evidence that you've done this? You go there to bring it. It makes your work coherent, and it makes that HSE department more effective and more recognized in the organization. So they provide high-level summary of key aspects of your data to keep everyone at par with the progress of the organization. Hence, it gives the organization a timely indication for necessary actions in real time. So there are so many parameters that we use in HSE dashboard. I will just quickly be going through them before we now go into our Excel dashboard and play around Excel dashboards, play around Excel sheet and see how they help to improve on the system. So for example, we have our man hour. We know our calculation for man hour. Most of us, we know that already. If we don't know that, it's just number of workers working, number of days they work, and the number of hours they work per day. This also can be automatically indicated on your safety dashboard. You just need to input it into the system and to work around it. Your man hour is very important. It's one of the basic data that we need in safety. So we're talking about man hour. You're calculating number of workers that work per day, number of hours that they work. Maybe they work for 10 hours and the number of days they work. The difference between man hour and man day is that in man days, you are not calculating the hours. So let's say, for example, you have 50 workers that worked for 10 days and they worked for 10 hours. So you are saying 550 times 10 times 10, and that is 5,000 as man hour. But if you want to know their man days, it's just 50 times the number of days they work. That is just the difference. So the difference is just the hours. Some use 10 hours standard, some use some use 8 hours, depending on the flexibility. And some make sure that they put the real values of what they use per hour. But most time, because of large tracts of data, large volume of workers per day, most people, okay, you have to work from 8 to 5 or whatever. Okay, that is standard 10 hours, and they use that automatically. So I've also defined what defined. Let me be clear, defined, because of this local. It's I'm trying to work around it, but define, yeah. A Monday is defined as the number of days a task can be completed by one person, or the total number of days worked over a period of time multiplied by number of workers. So that is same as what I explained the other time. So safety induction is also part of those parameters that you see in Excel dashboard. Like I said, there are numerous parameters that you see in Excel dashboards, unlimited. So you might see some here, you might not see some here. You can't populate everything. That's why you can have like 3 to 4 Excel dashboard that you play around with in your workplace. It's just very simple. You get it. So you can have in this dashboard, they put safety induction. In this particular one, they put safety training, they put to stop. Just know that what you need is to understand what each of them means and apply them as applicable. So a safety induction is conducted to everyone that just comes to site. Okay, that just come to site. Safety induction training can help new employees become familiar with their work activities, responsibilities, their colleagues, and teammate and operating policies, procedures, and rules. The topic covered in the health and safety induction training will vary depending on the employee's role. So like normal thing, part of those things that we do is the induction of workers. is the induction of workers, to induct workers into the organization. Is a basic requirement when people come to site. So it's part of those data that you have in your organization. If you are having, for example, maybe you are having 70 workers on your site, and your induction form says that you have inducted 50, you know that there's something wrong. Your induction record, number of induction forms must be equal to the number of people working on your site. If there's a difference, it means that something is not going on well, and that can be easily traced on your HSE dashboard. And I remember that then, part of the ways that I used to recognize when people just come to site is that sometimes they put their name on the toolbox stock form, they put their name on the permit to work form, and you collect them at the end of the day, and you look at your induction record and say that I have inducted only 50 people. How is it that on the toolbox stock form, 70 people attended toolbox stock? What is happening? It's part of those ways that instead of going to site to start counting, part of those ways that you can know easily is through your safety dashboard. So it has a wide range of application, and it makes our work very easy. Toolbox stock is also given. Some toolbox stock is given daily in some organizations. Some they do it weekly, but for best safety practice, toolbox stock is advised to be given on a daily basis before they start work. This is to prepare them and to get them familiar with the day's risk, the day's hazard, the day's task, and to establish control measures. Aside from the safety talk, safety aspect, also to communicate to them what is entailed in their job for the day is also part of what toolbox talk can also do. After the main safety talk, that is why we talk about integrating safety into the whole job aspect of the organization. After the safety toolbox talk, okay, the carpenter, this is your work for today. You might not be the one to say that the professional, their technical persons will be there, the supervisors will be there, engineers will be there. You talk about that, and then you issue the permit to work, because the permit to work that will help them, that will give them the permission for those that use permit to work in the organization anyway, that will give them the permission to do the job. So you have quite a number of permits that you've raised for the job, and you give it to them and you communicate to them, and you also remind them about the safety aspect, and you follow up with respect to the technicalities and also the safety part of the job. So trainings, you all know what trainings are. There are various trainings. You might decide that, okay, we want to carry out trainings at the end of I want to make sure that at least we have 3 trainings at the end of the month, or we have a training per week at the end of the month. So it's part of what is inside your records. It's part of your data, what you need to use to show the management that, yes, we are working and we are improving on the system. Training is a very important part of safety. You can't do without training. Training helps to improve the technicalities, it helps to improve the knowledge, it helps to improve the ability, it helps to improve the competency level of the workers. Without trainings, workers will lose their sights. When I mean sight, I'm not talking about the vision, but the mental vision of safety. They will lose track of safety, but continuous remembrance, continuous training, continuous awareness will help us to keep them in track of what we require as regards to safety in the organization, not only to prevent accidents, but also to let them know that safety is part of what makes us to achieve our goals. Our goals is not only to work 8 to 9 and to work extra working hours and to make sure that roof was successfully done, or that project was at the end of the day achieved, but to make sure that it's achieved safely within the period and without exceeding the cost, because part of those things that affect costs is also safety. When there are accidents, accidents that can delay the job for days, can delay the job for hours. If you don't plan alongside safety events, alongside safety procedures, it means that we are trying to introduce what will make us to stop the job, that can lead to excess schedule, increment in schedule, and can also lead to increment in cost, and also affect the quality. If you want to understand more about safety as a tool to improve project productivity and quality deliverable, like I said at the beginning of this training, it's one of those trainings that I did and I posted there. I think I did it. I even did it live. I think I did it live twice. I did it for Nigerian Institute of Civil Engineers. It's part of the training I did to them for free there. So it is available on my YouTube channel, and I also did it for myself, for other professionals. I don't know if we have anyone who joined them. It was sometimes in February or so, February, March, that I did that training. Safety as a tool to ensuring quality deliverable and quality project deliverables and the likes. So if you want to know more about how to integrate safety into all those knowledge areas in project management, go back to just scroll down in my YouTube channel. You will see the lecture, the training there, and it's there for free for you, so we can all learn together. So let us continue on this. So safety training is very, very important in order to ensure that we achieve our goals in the organization. So safety meetings is also part of those data that we need to have in the organization. Safety data is part of those data we need to have. Safety meetings, safety meetings, okay, we need to have an overview of meetings, what is happening, how are we improving, what are those things that are lagging behind, how do we improve on the system, what are the safety issues. Your safety meetings is also an essential part of your safety data. Let's continue. Safety inspections. We have a lot of inspections that we carry out. Equipment inspection, workplace inspection, fire equipment inspection. We have a lot of inspections that we do. Housekeeping inspection, we have numerous number of them. In the process safety world, it is even more complex. Valves, procedures, gauges, instrumentation, and everything that has to do with ensuring that we prevent accident. It requires a lot of regular inspection. So these inspections are what we do daily, weekly, depending on what it is. When you have it populated on your Excel dashboard, you're able to track the progress and to know how you have improved or how you are improving on your daily or weekly inspections in order to meet up with the requirement and in order to make sure that this has been said that if you do this number of inspections and we follow up on them, it will reduce or it will not allow any accident to happen. So you are not only inspecting, you are also preventing accidents at the end of the day. So safety campaigns, part of what we do and what we don't do, depending on the organization, is safety campaigns. Or most times we do safety trainings, but campaigns working around, talking about safety, having a day for, most times we do it once in a year, and that is during the safety week. You know, we do it once in a while, once in a year, at least we've done something, it's part of campaign. But on a regular basis, you can try to have campaigns once in a month, just go around, talk to why they are working, just talk to them a few minutes about safety, just go around. The way we do campaign for politics, you know, we have many, don't let us use this avenue for politics. But some days ago, we have the obedience went around for campaigns and the like. So we do political campaigns. That is what campaign actually means. But now in the safety aspect now, campaigning within your workplace. And if your workplace also have their yearly, there's what we call it, social corporate responsibility. It can also be external, but minimum internally, there should be campaigns about safety too. So having the records as part of what you want to achieve, as part of your KPIs is also, it can also be presented effectively using your safety dashboard to your organization to let them know that you are actually achieving and you're doing the rightful thing as the safety department or as a safety individual in your organization. Safety rewards, improving the behavioral-based safety of workers. Behavioral-based safety should have its own data. In fact, behavioral-based safety should have its own Excel dashboard, because when you're talking about unsafe health, unsafe conditions, the likes, it's most times human errors, human behaviors. How do we shape human behaviors in order to improve on the system? Or how do you apply what is on ground in order to shape or how do you use what we have on ground with respect to human behavior in order to have a workplace that suits the behavior in order to prevent the accident? It works both ways. There's no autonomy in safety. Safety differently is also an aspect of safety that we all need to learn, but I'm not going into that now. How do we incorporate what we have as a behavior and creating a workplace that suits the behavior? For example, you know that people can be, some people can be radical in their behaviors. They can be nonchalant in their behaviors. And you know that you have a moving part of the machine, of an equipment. Like there's a video that went viral that the guy, he told them to start the grinding machine, and he put his hand, he used his hand to hold the belt. Now, normal thing is that, okay, how do we train this person to change his behavior and his perspective? Another aspect is, okay, we know this person's behavior. How do we create a workplace that suits this kind of person? Okay, let us put a guard, even if he's mad and his brain doesn't tell him that if this thing should move, it should push him or throw him away. Let us create an environment that suits behavior and also create a behavior through behavioral programs that will suit the kind of procedures or establishment that we have. So it works both ways. But I don't want to talk about that now. That's not part of the training. Let us go into what we have already. So we're talking about HSE rewards now. This rewards is as a result of programs that has to do with improving the safety culture through behavioral-based safety programs that we have. So best safety practice of the year, best near-miss reporter, or best person. Some people don't really like this aspect of giving rewards because they believe that some might be doing it for reward purpose and not doing it to improve the culture. There are deeper ways to it. But what we are talking about here is the overview. When you have reward system to encourage your workers to improve their workplace culture, to improve their behaviors, to shape their behaviors, and to make them do what is required of them, having that populated on your data will make it easier for you to communicate with your management that this and this are also being done to improve the culture of your organization. Audits, safety audits, ISO 9001, ISO 14001, or ISO 45001, or your own particular standard that you established that you believe that it is best practice and you use it and you use it in your organization, then you carry out audit to ensure that you are doing what you said you'll be doing. So audit is talking about how many audits do we plan to do in a particular year? How many have we done? How many are we doing? How can we do more? What can we do to improve on the system? So HSE audit is also part of those things, those parameters we have on our safety dashboard. Let us continue. Safety alerts, safety drills is also part of those parameters that we can have on our safety dashboards. It talks about the awareness of safety in your workplace. It can be through mails, it can be through pop-up messages, it can be through many means, it can be through drills that you have in your organization. So these are also part of, like we said, mock drill, also part of the parameters we have in the workplace. So when talking about mock drill, it provides virtually the only means short of an accident of measuring the state of readiness and of testing the effectiveness of emergency response plan to know how effective our emergency response plan is, how we have prepared the workplace in case of an emergency. Mock drill is also, so you might have a plan to have so number of mock drills. Mock drill is not only fire. I remember it's kind of mute. I remember in our last training by Mr. Aloko Timothy, he talked about various kind of drills. It's not only fire drills. You know, that fire drill is the most common kind of drill. So depending on where you work and what you do in your organization will determine the kind of drill. Some can be disaster drill, disaster management, maybe when there can be drills for flood, there can be drills for for security issues, insecurity issues. Depending on what we have, we determine kind of drill that you carry out in your organization. And there can be drills for gas leakages too. Maybe there's a gas leakage and the like. So those are part of the things we'll discuss that is represented in your safety data, number of drills you plan to carry out. So property damage is also part of those parameters that you have in your Excel dashboard. You're talking about property damage, you're talking about maybe after an accident, you used to have high number of property damage, maybe equipment damage, but you are trying to reduce it. So having your safety data will let us know at the end of the year how many equipment got damaged as a result of an accident, or as a result of poor maintenance culture, or as a result of poor maintenance culture and accidents. Or sometimes equipment can get damaged as a result of poor maintenance culture. And maintenance culture is also integrated into safety, because part of what we do in safety is regular inspection of equipment to make sure that when equipment gets used on a regular basis, there should be a synchronized number of inspections that can be done, so that when they are fault, they can be detected early and it won't lead to damage. So it's like a chain, one leads to the other. So what we have, part of what we have is to know, okay, how many properties, how many equipment got damaged. That damage means got broken down and was unable to use for like minimum of 24 hours. So when that happens, you have that recorded, as part of property damage. So that property damage, you now look at it. Why do we have property damage? Why did this equipment got damaged? Okay, because no inspection that we planned to do was not done, or we did the inspection, so was observed, was reported, but nothing was done about it. But what we are talking about now is that property damage is part of those parameters that you can have on your safety dashboard. Let's continue. Please, I hope I'm communicating. If I'm communicating, kindly type yes, yes, yes before I go ahead. If I'm communicating, kindly type yes, 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 yes. If I'm communicating, kindly type yes. Let me know that I'm communicating. I'm not talking alone. Let me know I'm not talking alone. Okay, 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 okay. Okay, some are complaining that they can't log in. If you can't log in, kindly share it to them. Please kindly let's Mr. Akim, that person. Mr. Akim. Is there any issue, Mr. Databoard, David? You are raising your hand. This is not the time for question. Is there any issue, please? Okay, so please let's continue. So now we are moving ahead now. We are moving forward now. So let's continue. Please let's continue now. First aid case. We're talking about first aid. It's also part of those parameters that you have in your safety data. And it refers to an injury that can be treated on the job site without causing lost work day. When there is a minor injury that can be treated and the person will resume work, we record it as first aid case. Treatment for first aid incident include cleaning minor cuts, scrapes, or scratches, treating a minor burn, applying bandage, or dressing, cold compress, cold pack, ice bag, or splint. So the minor parts that are recordable, that you should have record of them, but might not report them to external authorities, is your first aid case, because the person resumes work, and part of what we'll be talking about under accident investigation is RIDDOR. I know most of us know what RIDDOR means. So RIDDOR talks about what should be reported. Though it is a UK standard, but you can also use it as a guideline with respect to our country. I know our country also have a standard too. We are planning to have one of our safety experts, engineer KKK, Kabir Kusoko, to talk to us about the Factory Act and what it entails. I don't know if it also entails what should be reported and not reported, but we'll talk about that later. So that is on first aid case. So let us continue. That the person will resume work, a minor call, the person resumes work, you put it under first aid case. It's also part of the parameters you have on your safety data. The medical treatment case. Medical treatment case talks about an injury sustained on the job by an employee which requires medical treatment from a professional physician or qualified paramedic. It does not include on the job first aid treatment. A medical treatment case does not necessarily time off work beyond the date of the injury to be classified as such. So medical treatment case is beyond first aid case, because in this case it's beyond the power of a first aid professional. It now requires a qualified physician, a doctor, or qualified paramedic to issue a treatment. Once it requires medical treatment, proper medical treatment, then you put it under medical treatment case. Meanwhile, the person can still resume work, but maybe the person will be doing a lesser job. But by the time it starts going beyond 1 day, then what does that classify as such? We'll see that as we continue in the discussion. But remember that a medical treatment case does not necessarily means time off work beyond the date of the injury to be classified as such. It doesn't mean that it has to be after 24 hours. Once it is being treated beyond medical treatment, beyond first aid, and it requires serious medical treatment, even if the person resumes the second day, as far as it was beyond first aid attention and it requires a doctor, a physician to attend to the person, then that has become a medical treatment case. A medical treatment case. So let us continue. And let me quickly talk about these values. In some organizations, you see that if you have noted before, in some standards, some organizations, they use 200 hours to calculate frequency rate, severity rate, lost time injury. Some use 24 hours, some use 1 million, some use 5 million, some use 200,000. How do they get these values? We'll talk about that as we continue in this short training. Let's continue. So, restricted workday case. From the word restricted, it means that the person is working, but the work has been restricted to a lesser job, maybe a lesser activity, or now working part-time as a result of the accident. The person is still being affected by the accident, but can work partially at work. So any work-related injury other than a fatality or lost workday case, we'll talk about lost workday case, which is the LTI, which result in a person being unfit for full performance of the regular job. If the person is unfit for any kind of job till he resumes, that is lost work day. But if the person can still do a minor job on any day after the occupational injury, that case is now called restricted workday case. Work performed might be an assignment for a temporary job, maybe to do a minor job, to go to another lesser department and do a minor work, or part-time job, maybe it needs to resume by 12, or it needs to resume by 2, you need to resume by 9 and close by 1 or 2 instead of 4 because of the accident. Working full-time in a regular job but not performing to its normal duties. So when this happens, you will now calculate it as restricted workday case. You calculate it as restricted workday because we are restricting the person from a full-time performance to a lesser job as a result of the accident. Let us move on. So the next one that we also have as a parameter is permanent partial disability. Permanent partial disability. This is defined as loss of either one foot, one leg, one hand, one arm, one eye, or one or more finger, one or more toes. Any dislocation where ligament was severed, where repair is not complete, or any other injury known in surgery to be permanent partial disability. When the person can still live, is still living, is not dead, it's not fatality, but lost one foot or one leg or one finger, one or more toes, you calculate that under permanent partial disability because it's now even beyond lost time injury. You also calculate lost time injury because the person will not come to work, but you now put it, if it now leads to permanent partial disability, which is permanent but it's partial, then you now also calculate it as okay, one permanent partial disability, while you also calculate your lost time before the person can resume a lesser job. If the person resumes a lesser job, you also start calculating your restricted workday case. Then if the person now resumes full time, then you now stop calculating as it applies. But you need to have these records because when you have these records, it will tell you what are those things. For you to have a permanent partial disability, it means something seriously went wrong. It means something seriously went wrong that would have prevented that accident. Let me share you a particular story that I heard that actually happened in a construction site. There was this particular day, a job early in the morning. This person was supposed to, this person has, how will I put it, has resigned from the work, got a better offer, and that particular day was his last day at work. I'm not assuming this. I'm not making up this story. It happened. it happened. This person was supposed to, that day was his last day. So he just wanted to come to work, impress his work, impress his supervisor and his boss that is a good, because he has been very hardworking. So it was his last day at work. It was his last day at work. Then what happened before resumption of work, before they start work? Normally we tell them, before you start any work, don't say that this is a routine thing that I used to do before I start work, so I don't need permit to work, or you don't need supervisor. You need supervisor as far as it requires you having an interaction with the environment, with an equipment or whatsoever. You started work already. So before they issue permit to work to them, there's something that they used to do for those that use this CFA pump. This CFA pump that they used to in construction industries for pumping, to pump concrete to a higher level or to a far place to mix concrete, a mixer, a rotary mixer, CFA pump that do the pumping, and most of us know that. So there's where they connect the pipe to the hose that transfers the concrete. That place that they connect it to, there's a particular there's a moving part of that machine that moves through and through, not like dumbbell, that moves through and through. So when it is off, if you switch off your fan, for example, now, if you switch off your fan don't go off immediately. It starts reducing, it starts rotating, reducing, till it stops. You agree with me? So this particular day, it switched on the engine. Okay, there were concrete inside that hole, that particular CFA pump, the hole. So it was like, okay, he wants to clean it. So he has been doing it, but has been lucky. So when he switched off the engine, maybe he lost his mind. Then that moving part was still moving right and left. It's a whole circle. Then it goes right and left, right and left, right and left, slowly. So that, unfortunately for him that day, he decided to use his hand to clean the hole, that circle where they connect the pipe to. He decided to use his hand, dip his hand to remove the concrete, to bring out those concrete. Unfortunately for him, like I used the analogy of the fan, it was still moving through and through. By the time he dipped his hand and the stuff came back, through and through movement, and cleaned his hand with a serious cut, and it cut his 3 fingers. 3, the 3 in the middle, and I think the other one was the first part of it. And that, in fact, it was first a joke. When such, it removed the finger completely, the top part. When that happened, he thought it was a joke. You first feel the pain, then he tried to hide it, but when it was unable, that blood will not first come out. Even the blood vessels will first run away before they now start coming out. This was serious, permanent, partial disability. The last day at work. So safety accident doesn't have a minute rest. Unfortunately for him, he could not resume the new job, and that was his last day. He wanted to impress his boss, wanted to clean everywhere to make sure that the equipment that is given back to the organization is in good condition. But unfortunately, he neglected safety. Immediately, all the safety officers, they withdrew all their permits, because it was the time that we already issuing permits around. So they immediately withdrew all the permits for every location. They should not go and include his name that they've already permitted him to work. What am I saying here? I'm trying to let us understand how permanent partial disability can be very severe, because you might just see the name, permanent partial disability, as the name, but it's actually something that can happen as a result of so many preceding events that were not taken into consideration. And that is where accident investigation and risk management techniques come up in the 3-day training that I want to do for those that will be interested. So there were things that weren't put into consideration that led to the accident, that led to the permanent partial disability. So all in all, permanent partial disability is also part of those parameters we have on our safety data that we also need to take track of. Let's continue. Then permanent total disability. So the person is unable to walk again as a result of the injury of the accident. Lost his 2 eyes, he couldn't walk again. lost his 2 legs, or as any accident that required that person to sit at home and is unable to walk again, it's called permanent total disability, and it's also part of what we record. Sorry. Lost work day case or lost time injury. Lost work day case. Lost work day case, an occupational injury or illness other than a fatal injury, which results in a person being unfit for work on any day after the day of the injury has occurred, after the day of occurrence of the occupational injury. That is, we also call it lost time injury. Lost time injury, when someone got involved in an accident, injury, illness, that person is unable to walk after 24 hours, you start to calculate your lost work day case. Now, we have lost work day rates and we have lost work day case. Just as we have, is same as lost time injury frequency rate, lost time injury severity rate. Lost work day rate is a standardized metric that provides a measure of the total number of working days lost within a workplace due to optional injury or illness. Now, lost work day, you might be wondering what's the difference. Lost work day case is just talking about the number of injuries that occur. Like, for example, someone had a deep cut. That deep cut is 1. The lost time injury is 1. Now, if you're not talking about lost work day rate, okay, that day did he spend at home? How many days did he or she spend at home? That will now help us to know the lost work day rate. Sometimes lost work day case might not make us to know how severe. You can help us to know how frequent an accident was, but you might not know how severe a particular incident was or accident was. Without knowing the lost work day rate, we might not know how severe. We might know the number of lost time injury. Okay, 2, 3. But for each of them that happened, how many days did that worker spend at home? They will now know how severe that injury is, and that is the lost work day rate. Let's continue. We know what fatality is: death. Dangerous an advanced form of near miss, a high potential to cause death or serious injuries, but which happen relatively infrequently. They include lifting equipment. When you are lifting and there's a snap of the belt and the item fell down, but nobody died. Nobody was under the item. The equipment did not get damaged. It was intact, but it fell down. That is a dangerous occurrence. Pressure system, sudden release of due to an overpressure. Sudden release of valve due to an overpressure that could have led to explosion, but there was a sudden release, a 10-minute release that could have led, if not for the valve, that could have led to a serious occurrence. That is dangerous occurrence. Overhead electrical lines, electrical incident causing explosion of fire, explosions, biological agents, radiation generators and radiography, breathing apparatus, diving operations, collapse of scaffold, train collisions, wells, and pipelines or pipeline works. These are called dangerous occurrence, and it's part of those parameters that you need to have on your record. So, fatal accident frequency rates. That is because fatality, sometimes obviously we have 10 fatalities. People don't know the how strong that word is. But when we say 10 people died in your workplace, not saying we have 10 fatalities. We are trying to make something that is bad to touch it. You know, in this era, we like to touch things too much. Yes, we use the word fatality, but let us say it the way it is. Number of people that died in your workplace per 1,000 man hour or 100,000 man hour, depending on what you use. So now how did they get this 200,000 man hour? So in a standard number of weeks that they use is 50 weeks, and standard number of hours according to ILO, I think ILO and WHO, I think I read it somewhere, is 40 hours per week. That is 8 hours per day. That is standard. 8 times 5, that is 40. Then that is 40 per week. Then 40 times 50, that is 200. So they now calculate 200 times per 100 workers. So if you have 100 workers and below, the calculation you use should be 200,000 man hour, 200,000 man working hours to calculate your frequency rates. All these things are already being formulated in the Excel dashboard. You don't need to start disturbing yourself. Just need to populate it there to calculate it for you. So we want us to know how they come across this 200,000. So if you have less than 100 workers, for example, in your workplace, the standard that you should use is 200,000, meaning that if calculated 50 hours per week times 50 weeks per year, that is 50 times 4 200 times 100 workers, which is maximum. So you are using 200,000 working hours. Some use is very simple, minimum of 500 workers. So the maximum of 500 workers. So those that have 500 workers, we calculate 40 hours times 50 weeks times 500 workers. So that will give you 1 million. So an organization that uses 1,000 workers, I have 1,000 workers, we use 2 million. 2 million working hours to calculate their frequency rate. And this is always applicable on your safety dashboard and safety data analysis. So I talk about lost time injury severity, which I spoke about the other time. Injury severity rates can be calculated by using the formula injuries times 200 divided by total hours work. Like I said again, this has already been calculated in the safety data. These are already calculated on your Excel dashboard. You don't need to start doing the calculation. But for those who want to know how they come across those formulas, it is simple. Number of work day lost, the days that you lost from a lost time injury, divided times 200,000. That is, if you are having minimum of 100 workers in your workplace, times 200,000, divided by the total hours worked till that particular time. Divided by the total hours worked till that particular time. Because if you're calculating your daily man hour, every day, man hour, divided by the total man hour lost till that time, then that will tell you your lost time injury severity rates. Because it's when you know the number of days that was lost. That frequency is just one, okay, one accident. But that one accident, the person it happened to, or the persons, the number of persons that accident happened to, how many days did they have to stay at home for them to be able to recover and resume work? That will tell you how severe the accident was. If the accident was lesser, maybe they will spend 1 day or 2 days at home. But if the accident was much, they can spend up to 5 days, 7 days, 10 days at home. There is a difference between frequency and severity, and that is the difference. Frequency will tell you how often you're having that accident. Severity will tell you each of them how severe those people that were involved in the accident, how many days did they spend at home, and that is how you calculate your severity rate. You need to understand your severity rate. The frequency of injuries is important, but without knowing the severity, how severe those injuries are, companies have an incomplete picture of their safety performance. If you say you have 1 lost time injury, or you have 3 lost time injuries, yes, you have 3 lost time injury in the company A, can vary from 3 lost time injury in company B, because in company B, each lost time injury might have required 10 people to stay at home for 10 days. And in company A, it might just require that person to just stay at home for 1 day. It's still frequency, but severity will tell you how severe the accident is. Those are what the safety data will reflect to you, for you to see, yes, this is how we are performing, or this is how we are underperforming in our organization. So it's beyond just having your lost time injury frequency rate. You need to have a deep knowledge of your lost time injury severity rate to know how severe each of the accidents are in your workplace. Let us move forward, please. I've already talked about this already. Lost time injury frequency rate is the number of lost time injuries occurred during the reporting safe a workplace is for its workers. In many countries, the figure is typically per 1,000 hours worked. A lost time injury frequency rate is considered a lagging indicator, as a result are more meaningful when measured across large group of workers. I've already given us an insight into this. So that is the first part of today's training. This is the first part of today's training. If you have questions, please let us ask before we go around and play with our safety dashboards. Any question, please, is highly welcome. If there are no questions, we can quickly go straight into the second part of today's training. Are there questions, please? Okay, I think we are good to go then.
I think there's a question. One Ugoju Matthew is raising up his hand.
Please kindly tell him to unmute, because I'm actually trying to check the safety dashboard to use.
So, Mr. Ngoku Matthew, please kindly unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Is anybody hearing me?
Good evening. Loud and clear, sir.
All right. You talk about LTI, lost time injury, and you talk about lost time injury frequency. I'm not clear how you calculated the lost time injury frequency. I was thinking that lost time injury frequency is, or lost time injury is a summation of partial total disability, partial disability, fatality, and medical disability case, all over the exposure hour times 1 million. You get my question, and you have how I look at it.
Okay, I'm coming, please. So you're talking about the calculation for
lost time injury and lost time injury frequency. Lost time injury, from what I know, what I have heard before, is a summation of medical treatment care, partial total disability, partial permanent disability, and fatality. Why lost time injury frequency is the summation of this LTI all over exposure, total exposure hour times 1 million in the case of using 1 million, which is 10 raised to power 6 also.
Okay, now if when we are discussing, I mentioned something and I said that if you are having permanent partial disability, for example, you know that a permanent partial disability is an advanced form of LTI. So it's an advanced form of medical treatment case. Now, if someone has permanent partial disability or permanent total disability, definitely the person must have had some days off work, right?
Okay.
So definitely your permanent total disability, the permanent partial disability, till the time the accident happened will also be calculated, and they'll be added together. Please let us mute. Am I following?
Yeah, I'm here.
So if someone had permanent partial disability, definitely the person must have had lost time from work. So your permanent total disability or permanent partial disability will also be calculated. But we are talking about permanent partial disability. Now the person is unfit for work. So when the person is unfit for work, you can't continue to calculate, you can't continue to use it to calculate lost time because every day is still counting for permanent partial disability. But what we are saying here is that if you have a case where someone has an accident and the person spent a number of days at home beyond fatality, the person will still resume work. Once the person has been confirmed that the person cannot resume, I mean, the person have permanent total disability, the person cannot resume work again. Then the number of days, then you calculate your lost time injury frequency rate, because that will fall under lost time injury frequency rate. Calculating lost time injury severity rate means that you want to be calculating every day that the person is staying at home. Meanwhile, the person cannot resume work again because it's permanent total disability. But if it's permanent partial disability, it means that the person will still resume work. So you calculate each day. That is, you calculate the lost work day case. For each day, you calculate your permanent total disability too. And you calculate you add your permanent total disability to be 1, your permanent partial disability to be each day that the person spent at home as a result of the accident, then times what you said, times 1 million. If you are using 500, minimum of 500 workers, maybe you are using 1 million divided by the lost work day, the number of days, man hours that you have, the number of man hours that you have to that particular time. So that is how I know that is being calculated. Have I communicated, sir? Engineer Daniel Saiki, you have something to say, please.
Okay, good. Thank you. Good evening, everyone on this call. So I just quickly want to ask, sir, please. I know that LTI means lost time injury, and then this is the number of days this injured worker is off from work. So please, I just want to know, is it the same thing as lost day injury or lost day injury case? That's one. And secondly, I want to know for lost time injury frequency rates. So what is the interpretation? And then how can we explain the meaning of those figures to the management regarding its impact on occupational health and safety? Because most times it just appears as if the numbers is very bogus. And then, someone don't know how to interpret that figure and then what it means to the management. Thank you.
Now, what lost time injury means, when we started the training, and we said any injury that requires someone not to resume work after 24 hours is calculated as lost time injury, no matter what it is. It's as simple as that.
Yes,
so
sir.
Now we talk about rescinded work day case. Rescinded work day case means that the person will resume work. The person will, please kindly mute yourself. The person will resume work, but is doing a less job. That will tell us lost case. So now, talking about what, please let us mute. It's very important. Please, talking about what lost time injury severity rate means. Is that what you're asking? Lost time injury severity rate.
Lost time frequency, lost time injury frequency rate, the figure after the calculation. So how can we interpret what it means? And the previous question I asked her, it was difference between lost day injury is it the same thing as lost time injury?
Okay, please kindly mute. I think that's from my side. Now, they have different terms for it. Lost work day case, lost time injury, and lost work injury. It means the same. To my knowledge, what I know, because we are here to learn together. But based on what I know till date, you can call them lost work day case, or lost time injury, or lost work injury. You can also just go online and search yourself. You see that lost work day case and lost time injury is actually the same thing. So I think that is clear. Is that clear, sir?
Yes, clear, sir. Clear, sir.
Okay, now the next question is, how do they work together?
No.
How do we communicate to the management about lost time injury, right?
No, lost time injury frequency rate. After we have done the calculation over 1 million or times one,
How
so the figure.
How do we communicate to the management?
To interpret the figures to them.
Now I'm saying now, communicate, interpret. I think the same thing. How do we interpret it to the management? Is that what you are saying? And how those figures came up in the first place, which is part of those things that are analyzed.
Yes, I know, sir. So, cause like if my MD or my plant manager asks me, what does this figure means? Like the frequency rate. What?
I understand. Let's go ahead because of time, because I still want to do some Excel dashboard stuff for us before we go. So now, if you have lost time injury frequency rate, that is the number of lost time injury that you have. Any injury that requires someone else to work beyond 24 hours is calculated as lost time injury. So you can start adding your permanent disability, permanent partial disability, and the likes. As far as the person does not resume work, if the accident now later result to permanent partial disability, like what Mr. Matthew asked the other time, you start adding them. There is no fixed way. As far as the person does not resume work after 24 hours, you start adding them together. So as your lost time injury. So that number times, I gave us an example of, I gave us how they get 200,000, for example. I said 200,000 means that they are using 100 workers times 40 hours times 50 weeks. That gives us 200,000. Meaning that for 100 workers to work in a particular year, for complete 1 year, for complete 3 weeks, for you to have 100 workers to have worked for 1 year, you have 1 lost time injury. So when you calculate and you divide it by your man hour at that particular point, maybe at that point in time, you are now in around maybe you are now in around 200, maybe you are now around 100,000. Maybe you've spent 100,000 man hour. You now calculate it. Maybe you had 1 lost time injury now. 1 times 200,000 divided by 100,000. That will give you 2. So for a lost time injury frequency rate, it means that you are calculating it as if you have 2 lost time injury, because you are just half of the year, because you have 100,000 man hour. For one day, maybe your plan is okay. This year you just you want to have only 2 man-hour. It means that you must work towards making sure that you at half of the year you do not have even one. So you are calculating based on the total number of years. Sorry, the total number of hours that you have in a year. For you to be able to interpret it, you need to break it down. What that 200,000 stands for, and what your man-hour stands for. So for you to have worked 100,000 man-hour, you have 1 lost time injury. For you to have worked 150,000 man-hour, you have 1 lost time injury, a single lost time injury. But that is where frequency rate becomes limited, because frequency rate will not tell us how deep the accident was. And that is why we have lost time injury severity rate. Maybe for that 1 lost time injury, the person stayed at home for 10 days. Maybe the person stayed at home for 10 days. Then you now calculate it as that 10 days. You now calculate as 10 times the 200,000 divided by the man-hour at that point in time. It now show you how severe the accident is. You now say that will not give you a larger number. It will give you a bigger number. Those numbers is just to indicate that there are issues. You might have put it in your gap analysis on your KPI that you want to have lost time injury nothing more than 5. So the more your lost time injury, the more the lost time injury frequency value will be. So it's not about that number in particular, but what that number represents. The more the number, maybe you've already put it in your key performance index that, okay, last year we have 10 as our value for lost time injury frequency. So this year we want to have 5. So your plan is to work towards doing things, putting programs, events in place that will help you to reduce that, what will help you, what will make you to have 10 lost time injury at injury frequency at that particular point. So lost time injury is just the value. If a particular accident happens now, you calculate and the person could not resume work till the 2nd day, that is 1. Even if it's for 5-6 days, the lost time injury frequency rate is still 1. But it's the lost time injury severity rate that will now reflect the number of days the person spent that we now use to calculate. So that will now tell your management that we need more things to be done, because it shows that if you have a maximum of 100 workers on site, we should have less than 5 value for our lost time injury frequency rate for a period of 1 year. So if you are now having more, even without getting to the end of the year, it means that there's a red flag and there are things that need to be done. Is that clear, sir? All right, thank you very much.
Clear.
So now let's go into, I'll just use one of our dashboards that we have already. I'll use one of our dashboards to let us know how these things are very effective. That is the safety dashboards, how they are very effective and how we can use them to improve on our system. So before I continue, we have so many professionals who has joined us already. I can see Mrs. Teresa Olayinka, one of our respected participants for the first batch. I recognize you, ma. Mr. Alfred Ajao, thanks for coming, sir. I can see a lot. I can see Mr. Taiwo Timitope, thanks for coming, sir. I saw Mrs. Arogunda the other time. Okay, I can see her now. Yes, our mommy. Thank you for joining us, ma. Thank you so much. I can see Mr. Faithful Elijah, Mrs. Nafisa Arogunda Alaja. Thanks so much. We appreciate your presence. So let us go back quickly so that we conclude the training for today. Like we said, for those that might be interested in the full version that has so many details, including accident investigation, you can message us or chat us up. So let us continue on this. So now, if you can see this this dashboard, currently indicate. So now, looking at this dashboards, let me start from here. There are so many dashboards. You see so many dashboards online. All these are easy to see online. Just type HSE dashboards. They will give you a lot. You can see them, you can download them. If you are good in Excel, you can actually play with them. But sometimes you come with errors. So it takes someone who has experience of HSE dashboard to be able to please kindly mute yourself. Someone has experience of HSE Excel. Please let us mute. Oh, good. Someone who has experience of HSE, experience of Excel to be able to correct those errors. But let us continue. So you see that this dashboard has so many values in it. Let me try and zoom it so that you'll be able to see. Let me try and see. So you see that there are so many values. Those are automatically populated from your values that you've already imputed in your Excel. Where those places are, I will unlock it for us to see. You can see that we have office staff, we have labor, we have manpower, we have an indication for February. Let me change that February. Just make sure that you are paying attention. If you look at this February now, if I change it to April, you see that those values will change. Those values are coming from somewhere. I will show us where those values are. For October, you can see that those values are changing. For May, you can see that those values are changing. So those values are for each month that we've already populated. I'm going to show us where those things are. Then if you look at the lagging indicators that we have here, property damage for June, you know, I already shows June here already. So the values are here for June. If I change it to May, it will show me the values here for May. These are Excel, the power of Excel. So we have your property damage, first aid case, medical treatment case, incident workday case, permanent partial disability. Yes, you have the parameters. So there are so many of those parameters that we've discussed. All of them are present there. All of them are present there. So if you scroll down, you can see our lagging indicator till date. That is year to date. That is till that June. The number that we have till that particular June. If there was lost workday case, it's going to be present there. So these are what we have here. Let us continue. Then a lagging indicators comparison year to date, you see them there. You see them there, permanent partial disability. All these things are for June. By the time I change it to May, all these things will change till May. So I just want us to have a better understanding of what this thing can do. So at a glance, you can see so many information. At a glance, your management can see so many things happening. They can see everything happening at a glance. They can see the number of permanent partial disability they have. They can see the number of mental disability they have and the likes. Then if you scroll down, you can see your usher date, you can see the gauge. This is for June. This is for the whole year. So as at June, they are already at 80%. As at June, for inspection, they are already at 80%. So same thing happens to fatality, frequency rate, and lost time injury severity rate and frequency rate. So those will be populated here. We reflect here, for example, like I said. So where are those values coming from? So what I do, where to get them? For those who have joined us in the last batch, I know they are aware of this, and I can see a couple of them. I can see Mr. Databoard David. Thanks for joining too, together with Mama, Mrs. Teresa. So let's continue. So in this dashboard here. Please let us mute because of time, so that we would end this training before 7 o'clock. So look at this dashboard. When you right click on this dashboard, you see hide, unhide, and the likes. So you click on unhide. So it's going to ask you what are you trying to unhide. Then you click on the data. What you need are the data. So the data will come up. Please let us mute. But I'm already having a headache. So now you can see the data here. You can see the data: man-hour, manpower, office staff, and the likes. If you look at I want to quickly go to somewhere now. I want to quickly go to somewhere. Okay, I think it's not on this particular one. Let us continue. Let us continue. So, if you look at this, you always see some values there and the lies, what they mean. For 1 hour from this particular dashboard is adding the total manpower and the office staff. You know, sometimes on the construction side, the office staff is there from the manpower that are working on site. So when you have a particular number of manpower different from the office staff, you can have a different cell for each. So what is happening here is that we are calculating differently from manpower. We are by adding the total labor, the laborers that are working and the office staff. So there's a figure for laborers and there's a figure for office staff. So together we now form the manpower. That's how you see it there. By the time I change this labor to 150 now or to 160, you will see that the number of manpower will change automatically. You can see it has changed to 175. It has changed to 175. So automatically also the manpower here, the man hours will now change because the man hour, all those things have already been, the formulas are already there. You just need to add 1 or 2 things, then it will reflect. So your man hour has already been calculated as B3 times 10. What that B3 means that for cell B3, you have times 10. 10 means 10 hours per day. So per day, when you have a total of 175 manpower, that is the man days, times 10, which has already been formulated here, it will just reflect on your man hour, and that will automatically reflect on your year to date. So this Excel dashboard is already has those populations already. So when you have it for February, if you look at for February 2, also indicates that. So now let us focus on February now. Let us change some values for February. Let us, for example, change the labor to 200. Focus on February, please. If you change the value to 200, you see that the total manpower will change. Let us see. You can see that it has changed here automatically. You can see that it has changed. If you can see that, you can see that it has changed. So now let's go to the dashboard. You see that. Let's go to the dashboard now. Let's go to February. You can see that we are still on June here. Let's go to February and let's see what happens in February. Now you can see that February is showing 2150 for man hour. Let's go back to the data. What do we have there? 2150. Now let's change it to let's change the office staff to 50, for example, and let's see what will happen. Consider it has changed to 2,500. Consider man hour has changed to 2,500. Manpower has changed to 250. So now let's go back to the dashboard. Consider the dashboard too has changed to 2,500. So it's reflecting here automatically by just 1 or 2 formulas. Even the awareness record too will change automatically. If you go back to the data, go to safety induction. Let's go to safety induction here. Let me try and zoom it. Let's go to safety induction here. Safety induction. You can see that for February we have 50. 2 bus stop we have 62. So let's go back to the dashboard. You can see we have 50 here, we have 62 here. So it's already indicating. So you know where you are going to. You know what your plans are. You see that it is 50 here means that it's not yet up to where it is. You can see where the bar is. But for 62, you can see where it is. For training, you can see where it is. Meaning that when it gets filled up, you know that yes, you have achieved your goal. So you can easily track your progress with this dashboard. Let's continue. So for each of them here, it's automatically reflecting on your dashboard. So for year to date, you can see that you can see it here. For January, for man hour, for example, the addition of everything from January to December will give you from year to date. Maybe for your previous year, you have a particular value that you need to compare. And maybe you want to have your target too for that particular year. So let's go down. Same applies to toolbox talk, OSH meetings, inspections, reward, audit, safety alert, mock drills. So maybe you have a plan to have a particular number of mock drills at the end of the year. For example, if you look at this now, when you look at, let's look at where we have targets. Let's look at where we have targets. Let's look at where we have targets. Let's look at safety induction. Safety induction, our target is 500, but we have 683. Toolbox stock, our target is 600. We have 544. Let's look at toolbox stock. So target is 600, and we have 544 already as at that particular time, year to date. We have 544. Let's go back to where we have toolbox stock on our dashboard. Where's our toolbox stock here? Where's our toolbox stock here? I'm coming, please. So if you look at our toolbox stock, let's look at till date. You know, this is in February, so we'll bring it down to year to date. You can see that we have toolbox stock is 544, and our target is 600. That is why it's still not up to the end. It shows you that you still have a long way to go. If you still want to check some other what was hidden, mostly I used to advise anything that is hidden, don't open it. You don't need it. These are the basic things that you need most times: the data and the dashboard. But if you want to unhide some other things, if you want to do some calculations, for example, you want to unhide analysis, for example, you don't need all this analysis here. You don't need to tamper with it, because this is like the brain box. This is where all the calculation is coming out from. You don't need to come here and tamper with anything. You just go back and hide it back. So when you look at all these parameters, you will see that at the end of the day, they are able to give you a good representation of what is happening in the workplace as a whole. Like I said, there are various different types of Excel dashboards that you have. I have a couple of them. I think in the last one that we used like 2 or 3, and we used that to train ourselves for those that were present in the training section. So when you have this, let's look at all these parameters like restricted workday case. If you look at your first aid case, medical treatment case, restricted workday case, and the likes, you will see that their values there will reflect automatically on your dashboard. Let's say you have 5 restricted workday case now, 5 restricted work days. When you put it on your dashboard for a particular, okay, we change that for which month? For January. For January, okay. For January. So let's go to January here. Let's go to January here. So restricted workday case. You see that you change to 5 here. Restricted workday, where is it? Okay, you can see that it has changed to 5. It has changed to 5 here. It has changed to 5. So whatever you put there is going to reflect. And when you want to look at the total, you just go to year to date where we have the month. You just drop it down, then you select it. So on a monthly base, you can have all this populated for January. You can have another particular cell, another particular sheet somewhere to calculate it, to do some calculation and make it reflect and just put them here. For example, I don't want to go deep into Excel calculation. Maybe for a particular week now, let's say we have 7 days in a week. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 4 per week. Let's say you have Monday. When you drop it down, Monday to Saturday, you can see that it changes automatically to Monday to Saturday. That is Excel training. I don't want to train us on Excel. But for those that attended the 3 days training because of the time allotted, I was able to explain how these things are done. So from Monday to Saturday, maybe for 4 weeks. No. From Monday to Saturday, maybe for 4 weeks. So for each day, maybe you have, maybe for example, for your man days, for your man hour now, for a particular day, maybe you have 40. For Tuesday, you have 50, or whatever value you have there. You have it like this. I'm just trying to look for something random. Have it like this. Have it like this. Then here, you want to have your total. There's a way you calculate your total. It's just equal to some. Then you just add the cell. You just drag the cell Monday to Saturday like this. Then you put enter. Then it will calculate the total for you. So if you want to do maybe for this for week 1, let's say week 1. For example, maybe this for week 1, you just drag it down. It changes for me autofill. No, okay, let me add this person. Let me put it this way. Week 1. Maybe you have 4. You can see it change to week 2, week 3, week 4. Instead of writing it one by one. So maybe you have your values here too. Your values here too. Just let me put any random number and let me use it to fill it completely so that we will not waste time. Maybe you have this value here also. Maybe you have, I'm just trying to, because of time, you have your values that you are populating at the end of the day. Just put them there. At the end of the day, you just come to know this one is the total now. At the end of the day, you just click on this one and you drag it down. It automatically calculates the others for you. Then from here, to know the total for this, the grand total. So these are just simple Excel dashboard stuff that you can just play around with. So this one too, just write equal to some this, then you drag this like this. Then it will calculate for the total. Then it's this total that you now put here. If I want to go on advanced level, I can also tell you how this one will automatically reflect here by itself. I can make this particular value that we have here to automatically reflect on the man hour if I want to do that. But that is not for this class because of time. But the same way the values here are automatically reflecting on this dashboard by 1 or 2 formulas that are being used. So for each month, you can have your separate dashboard that automatically reflect here. So now let's go back to the last part that I want to show us before we end it today. Let's go back to the last part I want to show us, which is the fatal accident frequency rate. So for that fatal accident frequency rate, you will see that what they use here is 200,000 divided by B2. B2 is the man hour till that particular time. So at the end of the day, if you have any kind of, let's say for your fatal accident frequency rate now, we have, maybe you have 2 fatality. You see that that fatal accident frequency rate will change automatically. You can see it has changed automatically. So at the end of the day, the whole calculation will pop up and it will reflect on your dashboard. So I don't want, because of time, I think that is how far we can go for today. It's almost 7. But this is just one of the dashboard that we use for our 3 days for our 3 days training. This is just one of the dashboards that we use. I think we use up to like 3 to 4 different dashboards, and we trained ourselves completely on them. And apart from this, so if you need to, if you want to have a full knowledge of this course, it's not only about these dashboards. There are also other technical courses that will be taken for the 3 days, which, for example, we're talking about accident investigation and risk management techniques. And under that, we're talking about so many things. We're talking about the benefit of reporting accident investigation and reporting. We're talking about what are the causes of accident investigation, what are the socio-technical systems involved in risk management. We're talking about the procedures for accident investigation. We're talking about the team selection guidelines for accident investigation. We're talking about the PhD system for collecting information during the accident investigation. We're talking about the analytical approach for conclusion on accidents. We have the deductive approach, the inductive approach, and the morphological approach. We're talking about this also. Then what we call the SINTEF. SINTEF is the largest research institute in the whole world. So they have a 5-step model for accident investigation. We're talking about that also. We're talking about the criteria for conclusion of a good accident investigation. What are those things that will make us to conclude that, yes, this is a good accident investigation? We're talking about various tools. We're analyzing up to 10 tools: event and causal factors tree analysis, event tree analysis, bow tie, change analysis, barrier analysis, the 5 whys, the fishbone, the 4 tree, the ILCA loss causation model, the tripod model, and the switches model. Then from there, we'll also be training us on job hazard analysis, using job hazard analysis as a leading indicator. How can we use job hazard analysis in accident investigation? How do you start job hazard analysis? We have 2 common techniques. Most of us don't know this. We just know that we carry out JHA, but there are basically 2 techniques that they use. We have the Kepner and the Trigo based, the Kepner and the Trigo analysis based on change analysis. And we also have the Gibson and the Arden based on unwanted energy flow and barrier analysis. Most times we use this barrier analysis for our job hazard analysis, but we all believe that it's just one approach, one way. But there are so many things that are involved in job hazard analysis. This together with accident investigation and risk management techniques, and also this overview that we just gave us on HSE dashboard analysis, are the 3 courses that we'll be having for our 3 days technical safety training course that will be coming up this Thursday to Sunday. It's very flexible. We have the recorded version for us in case some of us might not be available, and those that are available, in case you want to watch again, they can always watch again. If you're interested, you can always let us know. You can always show your interest. You can always start us up via the link that has been posted for those that are interested in the course. And this is what we have for us today on our safety series. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for joining. We appreciate your presence. We appreciate your time. We love you so much. We hope to see you some other time. If you have questions, please let us ask. If you have questions, please let us ask our questions. Okay, I think we are good. Thank you for staying up to this moment. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, sir. Thanks for the feedback. Great presentation. Great job.
Thank you for your good effort all the time.
Thank you very much, ma. Thanks so much, ma. Enjoying and learning here. More grace. Thank you. Mr. Abradajao said, well done. Thank you. Kodar, you are doing great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Taiwo Temitope, thank you so much. We are having, okay, thank you so much. Next week, we are having a special person who will be educating us again on a very important, Mr. Engineer Saiki, time has gone. This is already 7 o'clock. Your question, ask me personally. All right, so we have another person who will be training us this coming Sunday, special person. We hope to see you. We hope to have you again. Thank you so much for your time, and God bless you all. Bye-bye.